Hello out there in YouTube land.
Welcome back.
So today, to do something a little bit different, we decided we would talk about a good movie.
A good movie.
So, wow, right?
Yeah, really. We rarely do these.
We've been doing bad movies for months, and we've been doing compilations of different movies we've been talking about. But this will be our very first good movie review.
And not including, like a holiday movie. This is just one of those that we watched
really thought it was astoundingly good.
Mainly because it disturbed the bejesus out of us.
Yeah, actually. And, I'm sure you've gotten to know us enough by now, if you've been a member of the channel for a while, to know that we are very, very, very wide purveyors of different types of horror films. And if something does actually disturb us, that it's pretty out there.
When at the end of the movie, we're both sitting at the, staring at the television and just essentially at the same time say, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's good.
It is. Because usually we're stuck in these whole, oh man, that could have done this, or that could have done that.
Or it could have been better, or it could have, been something.
Or why did it wimp out? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Not this one.
Not this one. And, today we're really going to talk to you about something that Dani found, and I had to watch.
Yes.
And I don't know how popular it is or how well it's known, but it is called the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
And a little bit of a backstory about the movie itself and its release is that it was originally supposed to be released in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the movie studio that was producing it got bought out. So it got shelved. And there started to get to be this kind of giant grassroots kind of thing like, oh my god, they banned the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Right.
It's so intense, it's so wild, it's banned. They had trailers for it and then it was just cut from release. It's nowhere. We can't get it. And then somehow it got leaked into some of the streaming services. And so that even further kind of amped up the thing, because then the only way you could watch it is a pirated copy.
Right.
And
notice how, when there's a conspiracy involved, man, does it get good.
Oh, yeah. So, many, many years pass, actually, which, especially in the digital age, that's kind of intense. So it didn't pop up again on an official standpoint until 2014, when DirecTV streamed it for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Which, if anyone knows, 2 weeks is an extremely short amount of time to stream a movie. So it's unknown whether or not there was a whole bunch of complaints, or just that they only had the rights to stream it for a short amount of time. I don't know. But a lot of people speculated it's so intense, they jerked it immediately, etc.
There was also a kind of a group that, speculated that the Poughkeepsie Tapes were based on actual real footage of an investigation. They are done that well. So it's kind of like when War of the Worlds came out the first time on radio, and we thought we were being invaded by aliens. It is done so incredibly well that you would think you were watching a legitimate documentary and actual footage.
Yes. So then finally, I think it was in 2018, it got an official release to DVD and all that other stuff. And some people griped and said it wasn't as intense as they thought it was going to be because it had been banned for all these years, when in reality it wasn't banned. It was literally shoved on a shelf, and I think the studio that bought it forgot they had it, honestly.
Probably it truly was one of those I've had a lot of these situations in my life where I walk past something like, hey, I remember you.
Yeah, so, there actually isn't this big thing about why it was never released. No. It was essentially a bunch of missteps. But then it led toward, I had kind of heard rumblings about it over the years, and I was flipping through movies to watch on the Tubi app. Mm-hmm. And I try to look for, vintage movies or something that looks interesting or whatever. And I was trying to find something new that I hadn't seen.
Right.
Which, with Tabby and I, is kind of hard to do. So then I saw, the cover for it, and it's just this giant, long progression of all these VHS tapes. That's the cover. I'm like, well, this looks interesting. And so I read the description about serial killer and stuff. I'm like, okay, I like serial killers, so I'll watch this. And then I was blown away.
So then I get a message with the, holy shit, you have to watch this.
And boy, oh boy. So, it's set up like tons of other found footage films are, in that, you have people talking about the tapes and stuff, and people that are supposed to be cops and FBI agents and all this stuff. The difference is, in this one, it's done decidedly well.
It's done very well, and it actually flows incredibly well in a very disturbing manner.
And the other thing they did is that when they actually show the tapes of what the killer had supposed to have left behind, they did a lot of, like, wavy lines and granulation to make it look like the tapes had degraded.
Right.
Now, there are some people that complain about that issue because they're like, well, the tapes were kept in a closet, they wouldn't have had that. Not necessarily. Because VHS tapes are decidedly susceptible to moisture. So, even if you have tapes in a house, if that house doesn't have central air, if there's a leak in the basement, all these different things can actually start degrading those videotapes. So, just to get that out of there, out of the whole thing, actually, yes, it is possible for videotapes to degrade in a closet.
And you never know how many times, the killer would have actually watched or rewatched these tapes. Because anybody who's watched anything about profiling knows that certain types of killers can go back and, repeatedly watch what they've done.
Yes. So,
Welcome to Criminal Minds.
Exactly. So, as Tabby and I are watching it, we're looking at it and like, falling back on our knowledge of profiling and serial killers and psychological aspects of sociopaths, and the film actually nails so much.
Frighteningly so. Things that, and by no means are we, my PhD is not in
criminology or psychology. We're not experts in this field.
But they have taken elements from studying things like Manson, studying all these various serial killers in the past. They pulled in elements of that and actually created a very frightening serial killer. Yes.
And while the movie itself doesn't get into graphic gore, I actually think that's a better thing in that you don't get distracted.
You don't get distracted by the gore, and believe me, your imagination is enough. You will be disturbed with, just by what you do see and hear.
And there are some scenes that are pretty intense.
Yes.
So it's not like it shies away from anything. There's just an element of foreboding as you watch the entire film.
You get it too when the scenes with where the police are talking about, well, this tape shows this and this. You get that foreboding from them, and it carries over to whatever element that they're getting ready to show on that tape.
And then at the end of the movie, when they actually do an interview with, like, the one known survivor, you drastically get an idea of the psychology that's behind someone that has been completely reformed by someone else through torture.
Right.
That honestly is the disturbing scene in the movie.
It is. It really is.
It's not, the gore and everything, because that we've all seen too many times to count. Right. But to actually see what is a very realistic representation of someone who has been mentally remade by someone through torture, it's just shocking and scary.
It's scary, and it's, again, they really went in and did their research with some of these, because it is so sad.
Yes.
Some of the, the real cases of people that have survived, horrendous things. And they took elements from those to this character. And the actress portrayed it almost perfectly.
Yes.
In that you feel so disheartened and so sad for her, but you're also disturbed by her.
Yes. So, you know, if you're looking for a movie that actually will make you have an emotive response toward fear or just a general malaise of unease, this is it.
This is it. And this is not something you necessarily want to watch by yourself in the dark.
No, because it's something that can actually happen. It's not, you know, anything supernatural. There's serial killers active every day in America.
The statistic that they present in it is actually completely correct based on a lot of crime data. Mm-hmm. And when you sit back and you think about that and you think about the elements of the movie and where they pulled that information from, you don't need a supernatural element at all. Because, no. I'm sorry, to this day I still believe that the worst monsters are in fact human. Mm-hmm. What we can have the capability of doing to each other is beyond monstrous. It is. So,
if you're looking for a good movie to watch, this is it.
This is it.
And honestly, I think it would be a good film to show anyone going into college as an idea as how easily you can be picked up. Mm-hmm. And then something horrible happen to you.
And that's, you know, that's very valid for today's society. It's incredibly valid. And that's, you know, in and of itself, that's a very sad thing.
It is.
So, you know, in a way, this movie really brings into light how fast you can go from having a very normal life to being a victim.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you fight.
It doesn't matter how hard you fight. It doesn't matter. The police may never find you. And the police may find you years down the line when you are no longer yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, also presented in the movie, just the sad statistic of how many times the trail goes cold on a lot of investigators. Yes.
So,
and they don't
you know,
find what they need.
This movie is just top-notch. It's really amazingly done, and I think it's a shame that it didn't get the release that it was originally planned to have.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a worthwhile film to see.
Like I said, it brings the most prolific monster to light, and that is your fellow human.
Yeah.
Far more scarier than some of the ones in the dark.
Yes, absolutely.
Have legends.
So, you know, comment down below with a horror film that you have seen that's truly made you uneasy or disturbed you in some way.
Or if you've seen this.
Yes.
Tell us what you think.
We thought this was a great one, and we would love to talk to other fans about it.
Right.
So definitely comment down below.
Absolutely.
So, until next time.
Bye.